Good day, everybody. Welcome back to my series of lectures on the 12 steps. I'm assuming that you've watched the previous video called a primer on the 12 steps. I like the way I'm trying to point at it over there, but you know what I mean. It's called a primer on the 12 steps. If you haven't watched it, please go back and watch that before you watch this video and the upcoming videos on the 12 steps. So today we're going to look at step 1. We admitted that we were powerless over our addiction and that our lives had become unmanageable. This is going to be 4 lectures, short, 15-20 minutes each, and I'm going to break down step 1 into sections to help you to better grasp and understand what the step means, what the terminology means, and what's expected of you when you're actually going to sit down and do step work. Hopefully that's quite soon. Maybe you've even started and that's why you're watching these lectures. So step 1, we admitted that we were powerless over our addiction and that our lives had become unmanageable. So firstly, let's have a look at principles and virtues that are underneath the step. Okay? The key words we're going to focus on are we admitted, powerlessness, and unmanageability. Now, the very first key word there is we, and it's the first word of the 12-step program. So we indicates, it implies that there's more than one. It's not me alone. So there's it implies community. So we're going to do this program, we're going to do step work, we're going to do it in a community of other addicts. Okay, it's not a good idea to do it solo without any connection in any direction. Okay, recovery or growth is not going to happen in a vacuum. It can't happen in a vacuum. It requires connection. So there's what the we means. Second key word is admitted. And for many, that's a huge deal. It's a big deal to admit that there's a problem. Okay? It's the first step. It's the first tiny step within a step in the right direction. There's a sense of acknowledgement. I need help. Powerlessness and unmanageability, I'm going to focus on in the second and third parts of this lecture. I'll unpack those on a much deeper level. So stay tuned, and we're going to get into powerlessness and unmanageability. Let's just have a look at the principles. Honesty. This is the first time that you're probably going to be getting really, really honest about what's happened, about how far this has gone, about how big the problem really is, and how much damage you've done to yourself and others. So it's a new level of honesty. Step 1 is going to demand a new level of honesty from you, which is going to be scary and painful. Open-mindedness. Now this implies that I'm willing and open to learning some new things. Open-mindedness implies that I'm teachable. And this is going to be a big step for some. It's going to be a huge dynamic for some because we think we're open-minded, but we're only as open-minded as we're willing to look at the non-negotiables. And what I mean by non-negotiables, if we have got entrenched belief systems that are not negotiable, that we're not willing to change or to look at. So you're only as open-minded as you're willing to look at those things. And I promise you now, in the 12-step program, in the EHAB program, you are going to get challenged in your belief system. Really challenged in your belief system, and you're going to want to resist some of the information and some of the challenges that are going to be coming your way. Okay? At some point, this reality's got to dawn on you that your belief system, your worldview, which includes those non-negotiables, has brought you this far. At some point, some of those non-negotiables are going to need to become negotiable, because they may be holding you back, holding you down, undermining your attempt at change and growth. So we can discuss those at some point, or you can discuss them with one of your recovery advisors, whoever you're working with, when they start to become more apparent, because they might not be immediately apparent that this is a non-negotiable. You'll probably only discover them as non-negotiables when you experience the resistance. And when you experience that resistance, that's a good time to open your mouth and start talking about it. And willingness, another principle underneath this, the fact that you're watching this video, that you've gone this far, that you are here, is a good indication that there's enough willingness. Surrender, acceptance, admission of defeat. That's what admitted means. It means I'm giving up. I'm surrendering to another reality or a different truth, that I need help, that I can't control this thing. So that's a good place to be. It's a big step for most. If you're there, if you're in that place, I just want to say, well done. The fruit of step one, the consequence of step one, of doing a good step one, is going to be a feeling of hopelessness. And this statement will become a bit more clearer towards the end of the step one lectures. But a really good, honest, detailed step one is going to leave you feeling hopeless. It's going to sound something like this. Hell, how did it get so bad? How did I let it go so far? How am I ever going to change this? How am I ever going to make this right? How am I ever going to fix all this damage I've done to the people around me? And if your step one leaves you feeling like that, you've probably done a good step one, because it's setting you up for step two. So that's the end of the first video. Stay tuned. I'll be back with part 2.